What's going on, guys? Welcome to your second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and stimulus news report for Saturday, December 13th. Now, last night the FDA approved the Pfizer vaccine for its emergency use authorization. So they now have that. They can now start to distribute this vaccine. This means the vaccine will most likely be headed to different states as we speak. It's going to be happening today. President Trump said as soon as they have the emergency use authorization, then within 24 hours, the vaccine will go from a vaccine to a vaccination. So that is good. Many are predicting that we could see at least 20 million vaccinations over the next few weeks. That is also good news. Although, just because this is good news on its own, this also means there is more good news in store for stimulus. That's what I want to bring to you today. What we know regarding stimulus is that Congress has been working towards an agreement. This agreement is for a $908 billion stimulus package, or what they are calling it a COVID relief package, because it's not essentially stimulus. Now, according to multiple senators, the bipartisan negotiators have been able to get $750 billion approved of that $908 billion. The only thing that they've left out was the $160 billion for state and local government funding, because right now Mitch McConnell is not satisfied with the liability protections, and being that liability protections and state and local government funding is kind of combined, they're kind of putting those two things together, because if one passes, they both pass. If neither one gets through, then neither one gets through. So right now, here's what is on the line. $288 billion for PPP funding, $82 billion for education, $45 billion for transportation, $16 billion for vaccine distribution, testing, and tracing, $26 billion for nutrition assistance, $25 billion for housing assistance, $4 billion for student loan relief, $12 billion for lender support, $10 billion for United States Postal Service, $10 billion for child care, and $180 billion for additional unemployment benefits at $300 per week. So that's what's in it. And many senators believe right now that Mitch McConnell won't be completely satisfied with their offer, with an offer for liability protections, unless it provides complete immunity for these businesses against any potential lawsuit. So right now, he's wanting complete immunity for small businesses, hospitals, and universities. That's where Nancy Pelosi and Democrats are like, no. We cannot support that. And so that's what's currently the issue. That's what the holdup is. But being that we don't need state and local government funding in order to get the vaccine distributed, right now there is, according to the Problem Solvers Caucus, or the negotiators, they put out a bill, and what it says is, for vaccine development and distribution, $3.42 billion goes to direct grants for states, local territories, and tribes, but $2.58 billion will go to the CDC vaccine distribution and infrastructure. So we know $2.58 billion is going to vaccine distribution, which means state and local government funding can actually be left off now. Okay, that's good news. Now we know where they're at. This bipartisan group, based on this report, said that they decided to split state and local government funding and a vaccine distribution fund due to the fact that they were unsure if state and local government funding would get approved or not, based off of what they knew regarding liability protections. So right now, some inside the bipartisan negotiation group are calling for a vote on the COVID relief package of $750 billion. That was exactly what I just read to you. All that stuff, okay, from the $288 billion for PPP funding all the way to $180 billion for additional unemployment benefits, all those things, they're saying, let's do that. Let's pass that. And this is what Mitch McConnell has been saying all along. Let's just pass what we can agree on, and we'll come back to the table and negotiate on the other stuff later. Let's just get the stuff done that we know we can all agree on. Well, this would exclude state and local government funding and liability protections. Nancy Pelosi is adamant that we need state and local government funding, because these states need the funding to distribute the vaccine. But according to this bipartisan group, they're saying, no, we split up the funding for the vaccine, and there's $2.58 billion for the CDC Vaccine Distribution Fund, so we don't need that state and local government funding. Okay, but can this be worked on at a different time? That's what's currently many people don't know. Can we get an agreement later? Well, now that the vaccine can be distributed and is ready to go, there should not be anything holding up the distribution. And because of this, without a bill that's passed, and this $908 billion package would include funding to go to distribution. So without this bill, some states will not be able to vaccinate their residents. And that is a huge issue. So right there, that is good news. This means that if Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are 100% sure, yes, we need that vaccine, it has to get out to the American people in order to open up the economy, to crush the virus, like Nancy Pelosi keeps saying, then we need this bill to pass. Whether state and local government funding is in there, and whether liability protections is in there as well. One report out this morning indicates that Congress is working faster than ever to get a deal done. Another report is indicating that some Democrats want to pass the $750 billion package, but worry that if they do, Republicans would not negotiate again for another package later on, like many are saying they would. So, this is what's being considered. Democrats are considering raising the bill back up to $908 billion, but putting stimulus checks into the package as well. Now, and this would include stimulus checks for $600 for filers, their spouse, and their dependent children under the age of 17, and it would include $300 per week in unemployment benefits. Now, what you need to understand is that the $916 billion package that Steve Mnuchin offered, that includes the $600 stimulus check. At $600, it would require around $150 billion. I think it comes out to right about $150, $160 billion for $600 stimulus checks to all Americans. But according to John Thune earlier this week, Republicans are willing to provide larger stimulus checks if Democrats drop other pieces of legislation. So what we know is that yes, for the $916 billion stimulus package, we could drop, instead of dropping the unemployment benefits, we could drop state and local government funding and then include, okay, the $300 per week in unemployment benefits and $600 stimulus checks. But what some people are saying is, why don't we still include the unemployment benefit, but let's also add on another $150 billion? Because right now, there's about $350 billion, I think it's like $358 billion in new appropriations for this bill, for the $908 billion stimulus package. The other $555 billion is actually coming from, there's like 140 some billion from the additional PPP funding that was left over from the CARES Act. And the other $415 billion is coming from the Federal Reserve and now the Treasury. So it's all funding that was not used during the CARES Act and from the CARES Act. So right now, there is a high possibility that we see $300 per week in unemployment benefits for 4 months, and we see $1,200 stimulus checks. Here's what's being said. And I'm not saying we will see $1,200 stimulus checks. I'm just saying, based on the reports late last night and the ones that are coming out today, this morning, what a few reports are saying and indicating is that some are worried that Bernie Sanders, Josh Hawley, and other senators will hold up the government funding bill if they don't get a vote on that $1,200 stimulus check bill next week. I've been talking about this almost all week, that Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders want to put a bill together. They have the bill. It's ready to go. They want to do an up-down vote on it. Now, this could happen this week. I'm predicting it's going to happen probably on Wednesday, maybe Thursday, if Congress is not really making progress, which I think right now, based off what we heard from the FDA, I think they're going to have to make some progress. So it is because of this that Congress can get past this hurdle by including a $1,200 stimulus check into the current COVID relief packages. And this would work. This would work, but in order to get this done, it would require a little bit under $1.1 trillion. Right now, some are worried that Mitch McConnell would not support this, but others are saying that President Trump could be the deciding factor and that he would be the ultimate one to go to really get Mitch McConnell to jump on board to a roughly $1.1 trillion stimulus package. If President Trump is considering rerunning for president in 2024, then this would be an incredible gesture, an incredible move at the end of this current administration. They're saying this could be a possibility, this could be a game changer. So let's just wait and see what we hear and if we hear more about this, because right now, I'm optimistic, being that the FDA already approved the Pfizer vaccine for its emergency use authorization. I think we are getting close. It would be unexplainable. It would be devastating if Congress, we got all this way, we have the vaccine, it's ready to go, but some people in some areas cannot get it because their state or their local government doesn't have the funding to actually put up tents, hire people, have the storage facility and all that stuff. That would just be devastating to go 8 months, 9 months in, or 10 months, whatever, in this pandemic. And now we're almost to the end and everybody's stuck because the government is pretty much at an impasse. That would be devastating. What I want you to understand about this weekend is that the FDA EUA approval is huge. I've been saying this all along this video. It's huge. This is only going to intensify stimulus negotiations. It's only going to intensify the government funding bill, the negotiations there, and this will require a stimulus deal to get done very soon. Now, we have until December 18th for the government funding bill. As far as the stimulus, package or the COVID relief package, we technically have until December 25th, so Christmas, in order to get something done, because of December 26th is when the unemployment benefits actually expire. But we also have until December 31st when the eviction moratorium through the CDC expires, and we have a bunch of other fiscal cliffs that are expiring that same day as well. So, as to when we can see this happen, I'm optimistic we're going to see it happen this week. I'm extremely optimistic we're going to have some good news today and tomorrow coming out of the Problem Solvers Caucus and that bipartisan negotiation group. But I think Monday is going to be a big day. It's going to be a telling day whether we have stimulus or not. So this is also one of the reasons. I've been talking to a lot of people today. I've been talking to a lot of people and I've been telling every single person that if you are not invested in the stock market, even a little bit, even a couple $100, $500,000, whatever you can afford, if you are not invested just a little bit, now is the time to do so. And I say this because, and if you don't have an account, go and open up a free account. You can go and do that through Webull, and they will give you 4 free stocks up to $1,600 each in value. The cool thing about this is you deposit $100 and you can get 4 free stocks. So if you use that link down in the description box below, you can go and get those 4 free stocks. Just remember, deposit $100. What I like about this coming week, the stock market is going to be volatile. It's going to go up and down. But the best part, the best news is that we already have the emergency use authorization for the Pfizer vaccine. That's good news, which means stimulus talks are going to intensify, which means that could be good news. So we have a bunch of good news. The only thing that's going to make things worse is if we see a lot of COVID positive cases and we see deaths continue to surpass 3,000 deaths per day. So if you want to get into the stock market, now's the time to do so. So that is what we know right now regarding stimulus and COVID and the vaccine. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's been going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.